Hi, Wes Rosenberg with Building Waters. We're here today to do another Ask the Expert. I got a letter from Richard, and out of the Midwest. He said that he had no air conditioning. I said, well, what seems to be going on? He says, I'm getting no cold air. So he says, can you send someone over? I said, well, before we do that, let's try to save you some money, and there's some things you can do to try to save that money. Okay, so one of the things we can do is change the air filter. Here we're in Richard's basement, and where's the air filter is one of the questions he had. So, well, if we look at this, this is a furnace here. This is the furnace unit right here. This is the air called the return, where the air is coming back to the furnace. This is the supply going out to feed the furnace. In between, the air is going to the furnace and coming through here, and right here happens to be the filter. So one thing we should do is change the furnace filter. Okay, first of all, we pulled the filter out, and you see I damaged it upon pulling it out. It's because it was so packed with dirt, no air was getting through. So, which side does it go? There's usually an arrow on the side to tell you which direction. It should always face the furnace, that direction. Pulling it out, this can get sucked into the furnace itself if it's too plugged in, you can't get any airflow. This is one of the simplest, easiest things you can do to possibly resolve your own issue with lack of air conditioning. What also happens if you don't have proper airflow, there's a coil in here that is fed Freon. When it's fed Freon, what happens is that then that air blows past there, taking colder air and sending it up. The problem with the lack of flow, you'll start gaining a big ice ball on the coil. Now you don't have any airflow there either. So how long would it take for an ice ball to thaw inside the furnace? You're probably looking at about, how long does it take a Thanksgiving turkey, 25 pounder, to thaw in the kitchen sink? Probably about a day, 8 hours. After you've had it shut off, letting the coil thaw out of the big ice ball that was in there approximately 8 hours later, you would turn it off here, and then we would turn it back on. Placing a new filter in place. And then let's see where this happens before we spend money and call a furnace guy. So one of the simplest things is changing that filter. You don't realize how important it is to keep this filter clean during the air conditioning season. If they're relatively cheap, well, how I would do it is I would pull the filter, I would take it to the hardware store and buy a case of them. This one, for example, is 16 by 25 by 1 inches thick. Others are thicker, some are thinner, but then you'll get the right furnace filter for your furnace and your installation. Remember, guys, plumbers protect the health of the nation, and we want to be your plumber for life.
Plumbing, heating, cooling, that's what we do. And don't forget refrigeration too. Building Waters, shed a teardrop of joy.